How's it going, people? Welcome back to the channel. I see over 100 people waiting. It's mad. What time is it over here? It's 4:15 in the morning in the UK. I've been up this whole time. To be honest, I'm up on a regular anyway. I don't sleep till late, but I had to stay up for this one. I can't even lie to you. Jon Jones, one of the GOATs, many people's GOAT, is back. What is it, 3 years since he fought? 2020, yeah, 3 years. 3 years since he fought Reyes, and to be honest with you, the Reyes fight was probably one of his worst, if not worst, performance that I've seen of him. I haven't watched every Jon Jones fight, but it'd be interesting to see how he returns after 3 years. I can't even lie to you. But we've got a couple fights in between. RAKHMONOV against NEAL has just started now. This should be a quick one, if I'm honest with you. RAKHMONOV should get the job done. He's undefeated, and he's one of the exciting welterweight prospects. I can't even lie. Probably due a title shot soon, as long as he gets the job done in emphatic fashion. I don't want to be seeing a decision from this bout. 3 rounds. I'm looking at a second round KO, submission, one or the other. Second round, this fight should be over anyway. But listen, there's bare people in the chat already. All right, cool. 175 in the building. First and foremost, people, hit the like button. Hope you enjoyed the new intro. Obviously, I'm starting to do a whole bits of content, so it's not just football, it's not just Arsenal. So I thought, let me just refresh the intro a little bit, a bit of new music there. Big up Jay Rich for that. His Instagram's in the description below. And yeah, big up Ozza for the visuals. Oh, Neil's got a couple shots in there. Let me go through the chat anyway, because the chat's been going for a little while. I want to see what you lot have been saying. What times is Jones' actual fight? Looking at the time now, 4:20. This is a 3 round. I expect it to be done early. SHEVCHENKO, I expect her to be done early as well. Probably about 5:15. That's when I see the Jones GANE fight, eventually kicking off, and it's a big one. I can't even lie. Let me see. Stay Clint says, yes, Turkish, GANE is ridiculously better than Jon Jones? ? Apart from match fixing with real, allowing scenarios with proper hardest punches taken as convinces sometimes. I don't know how this comment tailed off. I'm not sure if you actually mean ridiculously better than Jon Jones, because that would be an outrageous statement. Don't get me wrong. I actually think GANE is a top fighter. One of the best the heavyweight divisions. Had he still early in his UFC career in terms of the promotion. And I think, we're yet to see the best of him, because you don't see the best of a fighter until he fights the best. And in the Ngannou fight, he won the first 2 rounds, and then Ngannou actually pulled something out of the bag. I don't think many people, if any, expected him to wrestle the last 3 rounds and win the fight the way he did. Obviously, he tends to knock man out. But after the first 2 rounds, you can see GANE's technical ability. Very successful in those first 2 rounds as well. It was only going one way, and then he flipped it around. But that's a learning curve for Cyril, in my opinion. In terms of ridiculously better, no chance. Jon Jones, like I said, one of the GOATs, many people's GOAT. The only doubts about Jones is, has the time off taken its toll? It's not only time away from the cage or the octagon, it's age as well. 3 years on now. A lot of people are saying heavyweight, he doesn't have to cut weight, and I get that. Obviously, cutting weight isn't easy, but at the same time, when I look at Jones, I don't see him in tip-top condition. Obviously, I've only seen bits and bobs of him and the weigh-in, and even him arriving at the arena. He doesn't look in tip-top shape, if I'm honest. But at the same time, listen, with Jon Jones, as much as you can laud his ability, it's up there as well that he's had the edge over a lot of fighters in the UFC. So I'm expecting him to use his head, and if he does, and he wrestles, then I expect a convincing win for him. But at the same time, he's alluded to, and he has done this before, potentially going toe for toe with Cyril, and trying to see how he stands up to what Cyril does. But we'll see. We'll see. Big up my man Turkish is coming home. Let me not say much. Big up Dave Jordan in the building as well. Johnny Meat on his bones Jones. So I guess Dave is thinking along the similar line of thought I had just now about, it doesn't look in tip-top condition, but listen, heavyweights, Daniel Cormier, for example, did he ever look in tip-top condition? And he's one of the greats. I won't say one of the GOATs, but he's one of the greats. One of the champs as well. I think there's been 3 champs, if I'm not mistaken. Cormier, Amanda Nunes, Conor McGregor. Maybe someone in the chat can correct me if that is wrong, but yeah, he is looking a bit chunky to say the least. But it's a heavyweight bout, and wrestling's his forte. That extra weight in terms of being a wrestler could potentially help a lot. So it just depends on how Jones goes into it, in my honest opinion. Joe Rogan trying his best to hype up Garbrandt, landing 10 straight. That guy needs to, I think, call it a day, if I'm honest with you. And look, Dave, it's not often we agree. We're agreeing about 2-3 times already here. He needs to retire on that. Go out with a win because he's done. He even got rocked in that one, if I'm honest with you. I think it was in the second round. He got rocked. He was moving a bit shaky. He had to get in the clinch. Bo Nickel, Dave mentions him again. Bo Nickel walked through his layup, thankfully. Valentina and Shavkat should be predictably one-sided and over quickly too. Yeah, I said that as well. And Bo Nickel looks good. I mean, it's not often you see a UFC fighter make his debut on pay-per-view on the main card. And he got the job done. I mean, he wasn't fighting anyone great. Pickett is, is experienced. I'll give him that, but it was always going to be a Bo Nickel victory, if I'm honest with you. But it'll be interesting to see where he goes from here in terms of his next fight. He's been on the UFC main card now. He's going to have to stay on the UFC main card. And his next fights are only going to get harder. So let's see. Clement here confirming. Big up my guy. The fights can't be showed live on YouTube due to copyright rules and regulation. 100%. If anyone's about to ask me to show the fight, that's not happening. Wish the whole Big Six crew was on. Maybe in the future, Turkish. Bless up, bro. I actually don't think. Do any of them like UFC? I don't remember ever having a conversation with them man, about UFC, if I'm honest. I don't ever remember having a conversation. So I doubt that UFC. I know Matisse likes F1, so obviously he's on the F1 channel now. That new F1 channel, he's doing that with Abby and other people. Tobes, I talk to Tobes regularly. I haven't heard anything UFC or boxing related from him, and likewise the rest, to be honest. So I doubt that happens. Plus, to be honest, with the Big Six, we've got a lot of things coming, to say the least, and they're all football based. But that is the Big Six. Big up Notorious. Hope you're good. What's Clement saying here? Unfortunately, everyone's schedule has to match up for all the Big Six to get a location set up at time. 100%. Don't forget Hughes in Ireland, Saeed's in Manchester. Grizz is just outside of London, and the rest of us obviously in London, but different parts. Me and Tobes actually live pretty close by. But aside from that, everyone's got, their lives also. Oh, Neil's landing a few there. And we're in round 2. I thought this would have been the round it gets done, but Neil's holding firm. But then again, I've taken my eye off the ball a bit, so I'm not actually sure who's winning this fight at this moment. Dave says Valentina in 2, Shavkat in 1. It's already past that one, bro. And said Turkish just fell asleep after partying from that. No, even you don't party. Listen, the win was mad. Another last minute winner. Not too sure about a party. Let's win the league and then we can party till the morning, without a doubt. It's actually a big month for UFC as well this month. I mean, March 18th, my birthday, Leon Edwards Usman. I'm still trying to get tickets to that. But the prices are still steep. I mean, there's a few £300 ones there, but they're not in great areas, if I'm honest with you. And if I'm gonna go to the UFC and it'll be my first time, if I'm gonna go, I'd want to be a lot closer. I'd want to, you know, ooh, Rakhmonov is feeling these. I can't even lie. When a fighter kind of acknowledges the shots, then you know that it was a few good ones there. From what I've seen of this round, I can't lie. Neal's probably won this round. He's probably won it, but I haven't watched every second of it. Let me focus on the comments for now. But when that Jones fight comes on, people, I'm focused. I can't even lie. I'm focused. In Oklahoma, it's 11 a.m. Mad. All right, we've got some prediction. Tobias says Gane going to do it, in my opinion. We're going to get into that. We'll get into that. Let me not go straight into it. We're only 12 minutes in. There's 230 people here. Hit the like button, people. Let's get it up to what? If there's 230 people here, we can get the likes up to 100. You know, I don't even know how much we're on, but we can get the likes up. Oh, shit, it's past 100. Let's get it to 200 then. What are we doing? Big up my guy. Come on. Love for the love. Come on, Will, in the building. It's been a little while since, maybe I've just missed your comments, but it's been a little while since I've seen you. I hope you're well. Greetings, James. Come on. Yasser as well. Big up. Come on. My guy, love. Yossi. Orange has Rakhmonov round 2 KO. Well, we're in the last 6 seconds, and it's not looking like he's even close to a knockout, if I'm honest. So there we go. What's the time? So maybe I'm wrong about this 5:15 prediction for the John Jones fight, because I expected this one to be finished quite early. I expect the Shevchenko one to finish early-ish. But John Jones fight is probably looking like 5:30 now, which is an hour away. So we'll be here. Pac-Man says it better be good because I'm shattered, my guy. You know what? There's nothing worse than staying up for a card and then the card is dead. But to be honest with you, UFC tend to do well with their cards. If the main fight's not a banger, then somewhere along the line of the main card, there's been a banger or two at least. So far, this card, I didn't watch the prelims. Well, I didn't watch all the prelims, but so far, this card, I haven't been that impressed. I can't lie. There hasn't been anything wow about it yet. But the wow factor comes with the John Jones return, so that's still to come. And that's what this card's really all about. Listen, big up Shevchenko. She's one of the greats in the flyweight division. But in terms of the wow factor, John Jones should bring that. And this round 3 should be good because that round 2 looked a bit tasty. I woke up without my alarm. My eyes hurt. Listen, you got a little while left. Need Rakhmonov, Shevchenko, and Jones to win for £122 from a £1 bet. Come on, good luck. Big up. Come on. I see the Arsenal comments, and then we can talk about Arsenal a little bit in between fights. Why not? Hey, Don Robinho. Since you're here, let me just pull up something real quick. Oh, Rakhmonov had to clinch there. I can't even lie. Neal's doing his thing. Yeah, he's rocked. He's rocked. He's looking leggy. If this goes points, it'll be interesting to see how it's scored because he's coming back now though. There's a lot of dubious scoring when it comes to undefeated fighters and next prospects and all of that. They got Paddy Pimblett. Was that the last big one? Yeah. Even Reyes Jones, and we'll get into that as well because I'd be interested to hear what you lot think. Don Robinho at 1-0 today, Bournemouth. Because I've gone back. I like Matisse's watch-alongs, you know. I can't even lie to you. Matisse is one of the top guys on YouTube. I went back to Matiss's stream. I found every time that Arsenal conceded to Bournemouth and every time Arsenal scored a goal. And I just looked at, what Matisse was saying. I looked at what the live chat was saying. Don Rubinho, you said Turkish ain't lurking today at 1-0 after 64 minutes. I was at the game, my bro. I was at the game. I'm lurking now, though. So talk to me, my guy. Talk to me. I've got the screenshot right here. Look. Where is it? Look, Turkish ain't lurking today. Come on. I remember these things. And sometimes I got a screenshot to remember it. But I was going to bring it up to you next time I see you in the chat. But here you are. Hope you're good, though. What are you saying? Who you got winning tonight? Jones got to pull this one. He's the GOAT. I want Jones to win it 100%. But like I said, we'll get into it. Let me just catch up with the chat a little bit. Big up Scott watching the fight as well. Come on. What a finish. No sleep, gang. Taylor, you know what it is already. You know what it is. I'm up till 3-4 on a regular. So when there's UFC on it, just, oh, yeah, this might be over. Wait, let me just quickly watch this. Because Neil's looking very, yeah, he's just, I don't know what Rakhmonov was doing right now. Just open up and just lay him out because he's finished. Yeah, look at him. Look at him. No energy left. Still a minute 45. This should be a finish. Look, you're bringing him down. This is what I don't like sometimes. Just I don't get when fighters, are on the edge of a victory and then they just had to bring the man down. To be honest, he's probably feeling it as well because there's been a couple of times he's been rocked. All right, they're clinching up. And let's go back to the chat. No sleep, gang. Come on. Dave says, GSP is my GOAT. 2 weight classes, avenged every loss and never caught cheating. That's fair. That's fair. I mean, in the GOAT conversation, you obviously have John Jones. You obviously have St. Pierre. You obviously have Khabib. Listen, Conor McGregor is a personal favorite of mine. I can't even lie to you. I'm Irish as well. And he brought the Irish with him in a sense. Conor McGregor's reign was electric, to say the least. But at the same time, I understand people that wouldn't put him with the, oh, what's going on here? Tapped out. Did he tap out? Did he just, no, he tapped out. Round 3 submission. Rakhmonov still undefeated. He's going to get a title shot soon enough. But I can't lie, this fight wasn't a great advert for a potential title shot for him, if I'm honest. But again, I wasn't focused on it, so it is what it is. Yeah, what was I saying? GSP, John Jones, Khabib, Anderson Silva. Like I said, McGregor's a personal favorite of mine, but with 0 title defenses, Rakhmonov was in trouble at points in this fight. They're just showing the highlights. Neal got a couple as well. No title defenses, I get it. That doesn't weigh up with the names I've just mentioned as well. And St. Pierre taking the time out. He also won won the belt in 2 weight classes, like you said. It's hard to kind of all agree on a goal in the UFC. It's very hard to. But like I said, all those names mentioned, listen, Demetrius Johnson, Jose Aldo. Jose Aldo, I'll probably say a great more than one of the GOATs. So is that fair? Let me know in the chat who your GOAT is in the UFC. And let's see what the popular opinion is. But like I said, there's, all of those names I've just mentioned are options. St. Pierre, Anderson Silva, John Jones, Khabib, Conor, Demetrius Johnson, Jose Aldo, Amanda Nunes. Like I can't even lie, Amanda Nunes is definitely one. Probably I'd put more in the greats, but actually in terms of a female fighter, I'd say the GOAT. So yeah, she is one of the GOATs. I can't lie. In terms of a female fighter, she is the GOAT in my opinion. But in terms of male fighters, it comes down to what you prefer, and it's hard to compare Anderson Silva's record with John Jones, with St. Pierre, with Khabib. Again, with Khabib, I get it. Again, I get it. He only had a few title. What did he have? 3 title defenses, but unbeaten, dominant in pretty much every fight he had. But I still wouldn't. If I take my what you might call love for Conor McGregor out of the situation, then I'd probably put it to St. Pierre, Silva, and John Jones as the three main goal options, and I wouldn't, go against anyone that says either one of those three. But I get you with the whole cheating, the drugs thing, and all of that. That's kind of what brings John Jones down a little bit. I say a little bit, quite a bit, if I'm honest. Alan said GSP as well. So a couple of GSPs in there already. MCA says, am I going to? I'm trying to go. I should be going. I can't lie, because it's my birthday as well. I might just say fuck it and pay the money and just go. So let me catch up with the chat as well. I'm asking you a lot of questions, and I'm still about 20 minutes back on the chat. Nathan, I'm good. You say, he says, I'm here because of that crazy win today. Come on. Shavkat versus Khamzat would be massive. What's going on with Khamzat? What's actually going on with Khamzat? It feels like they're waiting to line him up for a title fight, if I'm honest. That's what it feels like, because his name's kind of not been mentioned much recently. Maybe I've missed it, but I haven't seen anything mentioned about Khamzat recently. Come on, Johan. Come on. Let me catch up. I might miss a few of the chats, but thank you. Love for the love. Come on. Appreciate that. Let me catch up, people. RAKHMONOV, man. Come off the mic. What's the time? 4:38. Yeah, the Jones fight ain't happening till 5:30. Minimum. Will said Jones is taking it for sure. Johan said, did you see his size yesterday? He was huge. He weighed slightly more than Cyril. The Mac is back. Who you got, McGregor or Chandler? Listen, you see McGregor, he's let me down towards the end. He's let himself down as well, to be honest. I've backed him to the point where I feel like it's hard to back him anymore, even though the Chandler fight suits him. I can't lie, Chandler throws bombs, and now McGregor's put on a bit of weight, and even before the weight was put on, his movement wasn't the same as that period where he just came in, ran through the featherweight division, stepped up and done his thing. He changed his style so much. The boxing fight with Floyd, it made him a million. He probably was a millionaire already, but it made him cushy for the rest of his life and his kids' lives and their kids' lives and so on. So I get it. But in terms of his career in the sport he loves, it changed him a lot. And Chandler throws bombs. I don't think Conor's got the movement anymore to get out of the way of them. And now Conor's been knocked out by Poirier. I feel before that knockout, it was all submission defeats. And I just thought, until someone knocks him out, he's always, got a chance against these fighters that stand up and want to go toe to toe. But since that knockout from Poirier, and don't get me wrong, Poirier is, in my opinion, he's another level to Chandler. And this ain't me saying Chandler's going to beat Conor either. It's one of those fights where I think the first big bang wins the fight. It can be Conor, because Chandler's defense is really weak. But it can be Chandler as well, because, Conor's not the same anymore. And literally, as we're speaking about both of them, I'm seeing them both on screen now. Jake Gyllenhaal as well there. I think he's recording a bit for his movie. I think Conor's in that movie as well. But yeah, it's hard to predict that fight. I think closer to the time, I'll make a sturdier prediction on it. But I want Conor to win. I'd love nothing more for Conor to win, pick it back up, and go on a little streak, and then potentially get a title shot again. But it'd be very difficult, if not impossible, where he's at now in his life. Because you got to think this is a fighting sport, and when you're fighting, hunger means a lot. And by hunger, I mean, you know, your personal life, what you're actually fighting for. And as much as you might love the sport and you might love the martial art of your choice, that hunger goes a long way in the octagon. You know, it can be the difference maker. And a lot of the times it is the difference maker. And I think early Conor was hungry, and then he got the bag, and it was a fucking big bag at that. And then, you know, from there it's only been downhill. I know he's got the Cowboy win, but even that one, I mean, it's not like he was fighting a prime Cowboy either. MC said that was a good fight. Yeah, it was. It was. I can't even lie to you. I would have liked to see it to go decision and see what they thought, but he got the job done in the end. Yeah, super chat from Kieran. Listen, I just gave my thoughts on McGregor's comeback. I'm happy he's back, but I don't expect the best, if I'm honest. And I want nothing more than, like I said, for him to get the W and kick on from there. But I think Oliveira probably beats him, even if he beats Chandler. So I don't see him ever getting close to a title shot again. If he loses this peak, if he loses this, it's done. If he loses, it's done, if I'm honest with you. And there is no point of him coming back if he loses to Chandler. HRS says, hopefully Saeed and United win today at Anfield. Can't let him be. Listen, I hope Liverpool do United. I can't even lie. I hope Liverpool do United. Connor says he misses big 6-foot goal. Eunice says streets need more solo. I know it's been, again, I don't think I've done a solo stream in February, but I've done I was getting consistent again with the solo streams. Then obviously I lost my nan, had to take a step back, come back into Big Six, come back into AFTV, go into games again. So the solo streams will come 100% without a shadow of a doubt. When there's things to talk about, I'll be live. And like I said, I want to make this UFC thing more prominent on my channel. So not only live watch-alongs, but I'd like to preview cards and give my predictions prior and stuff like that. So hopefully I can build that, and we'll see where it goes. Let me see. What time's the main event? 5:30 minimum. We're waiting for the Shevchenko fight now. Sports Genius says boxing is better. Boxing was better. And overall, obviously, boxing's got the history, the heritage, and all of that. I get that. But boxing now is just, in my opinion, boxing is, and it's not just now. It's been quite a while. I mean, obviously, the heavyweight division for me is the main division. I've loved the heavyweight division. Listen, Muhammad Ali for me, especially growing up, I've read his books and I've watched his fights and watched multiple documentaries, and he is, and if you was to ask me who is like an idol or an icon to you from the sports circuit or celebrity circuit, then Muhammad Ali is without a shadow of a doubt the name that I'd say. No one comes close to him. I love Muhammad Ali. Who doesn't really? He was more than just a boxer, and he was a fucking damn good boxer at that. I can't even lie to you. Obviously, a lot of my friends love Tyson, and when I say, if Ali fought Tyson, Ali would beat him because of, what he's shown mentally, not just his technique and his ability mentally. I think that he would have beat Tyson, prime versus prime. But that's all a pipe dream in terms of different eras clashing and so on. But Tyson, respects Ali as the greatest as well. Eunice says we need a solo. You know what? I'm going to do a solo Arsenal stream in international break. So look out for that one. Our Big Six will take maybe after the review of the last game week. We won't be back till we preview the next game week. So in between that, maybe the weekend that is international football and all that rubbish. Maybe then. But if you're subscribed, if you got the notification bell on, then you'll know. Pamela says Shevchenko will get it done in the first. I hope so. If she gets it done in the first, then we're looking at 5:15 again because they're about to come out. Come on, Ellis. Love for the love. Come on, Jose. Come on, you Gunners. We believe Bones taking this fight. I hope so. I hope so. Did I do any formal? I did Wing Chun when I was growing up, but I don't think Wing Chun is legal in MMA. Not too sure why. I remember reading why actually, but I can't actually remember why that is. But yeah, I've done Wing Chun and I've done boxing as well. But yeah, that's about it. This fight is wild. Obviously, still talking. You see, I'm still on the RAKHMONOV and NEAL comments. Let me scroll quickly. Of course I do. Do I still talk to Curtis? Of course I do. I keep on saying us two need a stream, and he keeps on saying it as well, but it just never happens. Obviously, right now I'm going through a move. Well, I say right now, I'm going through a move in terms of a new house and whatnot. And in that new house, there will be a dedicated studio room. You know, once I get that done, which is my main focus over the next couple months, you'll see a lot more from me. You'll see a lot more from me, 100%. 100%, because it can't just be the big six, even though the big six, you know, is massive right now and it gets a lot of love. And I appreciate that. You know, I keep on saying it, and I'll always appreciate, you know, all the supporters of the big six and all the supporters of my channel in general. But there's a lot more to come, you know. And I don't mean other sports, like I just said, the UFC. I mean with football and Arsenal too, and other shows. I mean, me and Shiroi, and it might not just be me and Shiroi. I'm having to think about it, but Shiroi will be a big part of my channel as well in terms of a weekly Arsenal show. It's just for me, it's got to, you know, I've got to find a name that makes sense. Then I've got to get the logo and thumbnail done. Then I've got to get a nice intro done, because I think my channel's come a long way in terms of when I first started, it was very raw, and sometimes I was just going into videos in my garden, no intro, just how's it going, people straight into it. Now I think the channel's progressed so much, and I've got a bit of OCD in general. I like things to look, you know, look, sound, feel professional in a sense. I'm not saying I'm a professional. I'm just a fan of Arsenal Football Club and a fan of UFC and so on. But I like to make sure things are proper. So with Shiroi, I'm thinking of a name. With Curtis, it might even be Curtis, Shiroi, me, and someone else, for example. I'm still thinking of how to work it. But once these things come, they're gonna come proper. You know, I'm not half-assing anything basically. And Tenor says, I'm in Vegas watching this fight. It's lit out here. Big up. The way they're charging this London UFC card, they're acting like London's Vegas. I can't even lie to you. Great fight, great fight. Talking about the RAKHMONOV one. It did. I actually took my eye off the ball reading the chat, but you know, it is what it is. Rampage Jackson. Can't respect John Jones, says HY. So I've come to the section where you're answering the whole questions about the greatest. Conor made me love UFC, but Jones is the GOAT. That's from Manza. GSP, this is from Dave. GSP picked the right fight to win his second title, Bisping one of the easier middleweight champs he could have faced. That's fair. That's fair. It still doesn't take anything away from his achievement, though. But you know, you said he's your GOAT, so I'm sure he didn't lose any stripes for that. Drew says McGregor's hated in Ireland. Listen, McGregor's a character that divides opinion, to say the least. I wouldn't say he's hated in Ireland. I would say there's a lot of people that don't like him. There's a lot of people that love him as well. I've got family in Ireland too. I've got friends in Ireland. So, you know, over the years when Conor was coming through and doing his thing and elevating UFC to new heights commercially, don't get it twisted. He built a strong bond with, look how many Irish, you know, men and women were following him around the world. I think that says a lot. Chandler's got 0 fight IQ. It's true. It is true. But I don't know if Conor has. Listen, Conor's in his prime. He was a technically amazing fighter. You know, when he was using his kicks to keep the distance and he was timing his strikes to perfection, and he was constantly moving. That Conor, different level to the Conor we saw towards the end, or I say towards the end, he's coming back, but I mean in the last few years, and even those fights have been few and far between. MK says Chandler has one of the best first rounds in the UFC. The guy comes out like a Beyblade. True, MK. True, but Conor, you know, is a round one, round two merchant as well. You know, when it gets past that, it gets a bit sticky. Credit to him for the Nate Diaz fight. I mean, he's stuck in there, and got the decision. But that was Conor in his prime. Conor now is not doing anything after the second round, if I'm honest with you. Dave says, fought Conor, turned a corner in the build up to the second Poirier fight. Then he went back to Colkett McGregor because he can't handle the loss. I get you. The the build up to the third fight as well. Conor's banter was very forced. I mean, part of Conor's, you know, likability when he was going through the featherweight and then, you know, stepping up was that his banter was, you know, it was on the edge, but it was pure and natural. That you know, when he tried to bring it back for the third Poirier fight, it just felt very childish at times. It just felt forced. A lot of it wasn't funny. So even that fell off for me in terms of the build up to the fight. So yeah, I mean, he grew up, I guess. He grew up. So it is what it is. It is what it is. Marcus says, what was Conor's bag? The Mayweather fight. What he made close to, if not 100 mil for that fight, all in. And once you make that sort of money, how motivated are you in comparison to someone who's trying to get to even a tenth of that bag, and you're going into scrap, essentially. You're going into scrap, a man. No hold. Well, obviously it's not no holds barred, but I mean, more or less anything goes. It ain't easy. It ain't easy. You have to have that hunger. And MK also says, big up Turkish. Glad to see you're a fellow UFC fan. Come on. Muhammad Ali is the GOAT. He is. 100% I'm a UFC fan. And these UFC streams, watch-alongs, they're going to be more consistent. Like I said, I want to do previews. And will I do a review? Maybe one day. We'll see. We'll see. I've got a lot of plans in there. I've got a lot of plans in my notepad. But it's about finding the time, getting it proper in terms of what I mentioned earlier, intro, thumbnails, you know, name, and so on. Am I going to sleep after the main event? Of course. Listen, my son's going to be up in a few hours, so I need a couple of hours, and I'm taking him swimming when he wakes up. So I've only got a few hours to rest and then off to swimming. Big up SC Guna, just supporting the channel. Congrats on 60K on the road to 70. I'm on 80, my guy. 80K on the road to 90, but I'm gonna say on the road to 100. But listen, love to everyone that's subscribed over the years. Love to everyone that's helped me get to 80K. It feels like it's taken a long time, but at the same time, I never imagined that. Firstly, I never imagined I'd get 1,000. Then I never imagined I'd get 10,000. Then I thought to myself, well, I'm never going to reach 50,000. I just enjoy doing it. Enjoyed and still enjoy doing it. Now I'm on 80K. And now I can see 100K. But at the same time, I still feel like I'm far off it. And at the end of the day, it is what it is. What you get 100K, you get a plaque. It's nice, you know, it boosts your ego a bit. But overall, you know, I just, rather than think about more, I'm more about appreciating what I got and what's there. And if it happens, it happens. You know, if I got the plaque, you'd see it hanging up behind me in the new studio that I'm going to get done up for the channel. So, yeah. Where are we? Oh, he says, sorry, that was Curtis on the way to 90K. Come on. Oh yeah, Curtis just hit 60. Big up Curtis as well, man. He's been putting in the work over the last couple of years or so. Big him up. I just see he's hit 60K as well. Like I said, me and him need a show soon enough. It's all about time. I mean, I had a show with Rance back in the day. I had a show with Mo as well, even though that wasn't really a regular show. It was every once in a while. These shows are just, firstly, they were paused. But then I found little time. I had a son. I started doing more for AFTV. The Big Six kicked off in terms of popularity. So in terms of managing all of those aspects in my life and on YouTube together, most of my time's taken. So the pause shows have turned into shows of the past. But that's not to say things won't come back or shows won't be coming. Like I said, they will be coming. Best channel on YouTube, hands down. Love. I really appreciate that. I really appreciate that. To be honest, are you a mod? Because I should make you a mod because you've been supporting the channel for quite a while. Let me see what's going on here. Because I see you're a member as well, so the support is mad. Turn that off, man. Let me scroll up and see if there's another comment from SC Guna. There we are. Yeah, add as moderator. There we go. There we go. There we go. Oof. Obviously, it's round one. Well, last couple of minutes of round one in the Shevchenko Grasso fight. SC, you're a mod now, so you know what that's all about. When you're here, you're here. When you're here, you're here. HM says Rance is saying you guys are ducking him on the Big Six, need him on. Why would I, an Arsenal fan, duck a Man United fan right now? Does that make sense? Does that make sense? What, a League Cup? You think man can chat shit to me about a League Cup? I'm not hearing nothing about no League Cup, I'll be honest with you. But one day Rance will be on. Rance is my guy. One day he'll be on. But more often than not, Saeed's there. More often than not. So, it is what it is. But right now, no United fans got anything from me. I ain't hearing anything from no United fan. I don't care who they are. What's this? See, I've slowly caught up to the chat now. Imagine the UFC at the Emirates. Yeah, but you did mention it's unrealistic. But yeah, I mean, UFC in England has grown in the last few years without a shadow of a doubt. And big up Leon Edwards as well, because I'm happy for him. I'm happy that he got the belt off Usman. I actually think Usman. It's hard to say because there's a lot of rumors about Usman's state of play right now in terms of his knees and I swear he had a problem with his hand. Haven't seen or heard much from him recently, so I'm not too sure. I'm not too sure where he's at physically. But if he's anywhere close to where he was going into the the second Edwards fight where he got the head kick in the 5th, I'd say Usman probably wins it on 18th of March through wrestling for 5 rounds. Biggest mistake he made in that fight was, going into the final round, he's 3-1 up. And he went toe-to-toe, and Edwards technically is the better striker without a shadow of a doubt. And he proved that with the head kick. One of the best, if not the best, head kick KO ever because of what was on the line and against who it was. Wasn't Usman pound for pound best at that time, if I'm not mistaken? I think he was, and rightly so. Not that I put too much emphasis on pound for pound best, but you only get to that. I was going to say you only get to that stage having done dirt, but Islam Makhachev kind of got fast track there for the whole pound for pound best with Volkanovski. And again, don't get me wrong, Makhachev's I like him a lot as well. But the Volkanovski fight was good. I'd like to see that again for sure. I probably would have said draw for that fight if I'm honest, and I think a draw would have been a fair result for the rematch to come straight away. But, you know, it is what it is. Danger says, John Jones TKO round 4, put your house on it. I need my house. And the way John Jones was moving towards the end, like I said, with the Reyes fight 3 years ago, there's a lot of question marks. Listen, I've bigged up John Jones a lot, and I've said he's one of the GOATs, if not the GOAT for many. I get that. But the Reyes fight, in my opinion, I gave it 3-2 to Reyes. Off the top of my head, I think one judge went wild with the scoring, but the other two judges gave it 3-2 to John Jones. And sometimes when you're champion, when you got that clout, when you got that stature in the business, things favor you. And I just felt that's what it was in the Reyes fight. But me as a fan, just watching it, hoping for a John Jones win, I actually gave it 3-2 to Reyes. So 3 years on from that performance against a technically gifted young man like Cyril in his division, there's a lot of question marks. I wouldn't be surprised either way. I wouldn't be surprised either. I feel like John Jones can go and dominate, you know, 4 or 5 rounds and use his elite wrestling to get the W. But I also feel like Gane must have learned a bit off that Francis fight. You know, he must have looked at that weakness and said he can't continue in this division. Well, in any division, when you find the weakness, it's hard to continue at the top. But he must have built upon that. Now, either side of the Francis fight, he had the 3rd round knockout of Derek Lewis prior to the Francis fight. Derek has, you know, Lewis hasn't looked the same since. I know he's won, I think he won the fight straight after, but he's lost like 3-4 fights in a row now. I like Lewis as a character, but in terms of a fighter, he's, you know, a banger in terms of, you know, he's got a big punch, but he's not technically gifted. And Tuivasa kind of, you know, he did rock Cyril in the 2nd round, or was it the 2nd round? I think it was the 2nd round. He rocked him. He did rock him. But if you look at how Cyril just took him apart slowly but surely and broke him down physically, and the body shots and the elite level of striking, Cyril's he's a very good fighter. I want to see how far he's come from that Francis fight, and the John Jones fight tonight. I say tonight, in about half an hour, will say a lot about it. The Shevchenko fight's in round 2 with 2 minutes to go. Grasso's got good hands. I didn't think she'd cause much problems, but yeah, it's going. It's going. My personal favorite UFC fights. My personal favorite UFC fighter. I've heard Conor McGregor. I mean, in terms of all time, Conor McGregor. But big up St. Pierre and John Jones too in that sense. If we're talking now, my favorite fighter now. Very hard to say. I don't really have an out-and-out favorite. I mean, I like Leon Edwards. I mean, very underrated. Obviously, he's getting his flowers now because of the Usman knockout. But he's still very underrated, in my opinion. I think in terms of strikers, he's one of the best around. I like Khamzat a lot, and that goes without saying. I think the majority do like what Khamzat's about and how dominant he's been, albeit the Gilbert Burns fight. He wasn't exposed because Burns is a top fighter as well, but that one was a difficult test for him. And in that one, he got rocked a few times and kind of exposed a few weaknesses where defensively he wasn't really on job. You know, he'd get rocked and he'd just go straight back in head first again. And at times I was like, "Rad, this guy might get, you know, knocked out in a sec." But you know, he rode the waves, and I say waves plural because there was a few moments there when Burns got him. So I like Edwards, I like Khamzat. Volkanovski is definitely up there. I mean, Volkanovski, he's definitely up there. I put him in the. Would I put him in the greats? He's definitely not in the GOATs category, but I'd say he's done enough to to be confident that he goes down as one of the greats once he retires. Not that that's coming anytime soon. Yeah. Yusuf says Turkish. I bet at the start of the season Arsenal are going to win the league. Well, that would have been mad odds. Dave says Lewis can't handle getting hit. Reminds me of Brock Lesnar. They shit themselves when they take a punch. Yeah, that is actually what it is. As soon as they feel something, it's peak for them. It's peak for them. Fug Rose was my favorite until that horror show versus Esparza. Yeah, that was that fight. I can't believe what I saw in that fight, Dave. I can't believe what I saw. You know what, Weili Zhang as well. I actually like her a lot. That fight with what's her name again? Weili Zhang versus, was it Joanna? It's Joanna Satin anyway. That fight is one of the best fights I've ever seen. The first one between them two. But then obviously Rose done her thing. But in terms of an out-and-out favorite right now, listen, I right now I'm more enjoying the sport in general and the different divisions and you know, all-round cards more so than I am looking at for a potential fighter. I'm looking forward to McGregor Chandler. Don't get it twisted. I'm looking forward to Volkanovski Rodriguez. Is his name Rodriguez? Yeah, Rodriguez. I'm looking forward to that fight. I wonder who Makhachev fights next. That'll be interesting too. Edwards, Usman. There's a lot of fights that I'm looking forward to, and that's the thing about Dana, and that's the difference with boxing. Now, UFC make the big fights consistently. Boxing, you could be waiting years and you don't see the biggest fights that everyone wants to see. I think that's where boxing's fallen off a lot over the years. Oof. Grasso's doing well. I can't even lie. We're into round 3. She's doing very well. She's probably winning the fight if I'm honest with you. Let me know, whoever's watching it right now. Let me know, who do you think is winning right now? Shevchenko's catching a few, you know. Danger said, one of the most humble guys in the space. Big up my G. Come on, my bro. Come on. Appreciate that. It's humble. The love is humbling. You know, that it's just mad. I mean, even after today, I mean, all the pictures I was taking with people outside the stadium, and that's just mad to me. All I do is just, you know, talk football and offer my opinions. So love for the love. I mean, it's as much about you lot supporting me as it is me doing content and building the channel. It's about everything put together. Dean says, mash up after a night out. Have a good week, G. Come on. If you mash up, my guy, go enjoy a nice rest. Grasso's edging it, innit? Yeah, I agree with that. But Shevchenko's got her down at the moment. And she's on top, 2.5 minutes to go. So it'll be interesting. She has. What was her last fight? Was a split decision, isn't it? Who did she fight again? I forgot who she fought, but her last fight was a split decision. And there was a lot of question marks about, you know, whether she's on the decline or not. I still thought this fight would be a given for her, because I just feel her experience and her ability all round would see her through. But at this moment in time, a little surprise might be on the cards. She's on top now, but she's getting banged in the face a few times. It just looks like she's resting and trying to regroup. Just under 2 minutes to go. Messi says Shevchenko's winning. Josh says Grasso. I'm even saying her name right, Grasso. Yeah, most people are saying Grasso. Yusuf says, where's the best place to buy tickets? I'm only seeing £500 plus. Are you talking about the UFC on the 18th of March? Confirm that for me. If you're talking about UFC 18th of March, then 500 is not really bad in comparison to some of the prices I've seen. It just depends what you want. I think you can get tickets. If we're talking UFC, I think you can get tickets for What just happened there? Oh, they got separated. Well, not much action. All right. 350 pound you can get tickets, but there'd be, the worst tickets of the lot in terms of high up, back seats and all of that. Ooh. Um, the higher you get it depends what you want. If you just want to be there, then you can find tickets for free, 350. Oh, I thought she was under her neck there, but nah. If you want to enjoy the experience fully, then you're looking at, if I'm honest, 700 to £1,000. That's what it's looking like. But at the same time, I read something today on Twitter where there's about, it said there's £500,000 worth of tickets still available. I don't know if it's that much, but there is a lot of tickets available, and with what, 2 weeks to go now until the card, I expect the prices to go down a bit. Hence why I haven't jumped in and purchased tickets yet, because the prices are due to drop. I mean, they're not going to want to have a card where a lot of tickets are not sold. So I'm expecting prices to drop a bit. Fingers crossed. We'll see. We'll see. Dave's not a fan of Valentina anyway. Stand up is robotic. She's getting pieced up, says Ben. Grasso's up. Best way to buy tickets for. I get a lot of questions about tickets for. I don't know the best way, if I'm honest. I've got my season ticket, so in that sense, I'm sorted. I just pay for my season ticket at the start. When I want to go games, I go games. In terms of buying tickets individually, or looking for a couple here, looking for a couple there, I don't know the best way, if I'm honest. I hear a lot of complaints about the memberships and how hard it is to get tickets now. And I get that. When you're winning and things are going well, more people want to see you. It's just part and parcel of anything in life, not just football. But I can't say the best way to get tickets. Listen, if you've got money, then I think tickets get resold on these other ticket websites, which a lot of people complain about, and Arsenal apparently looking into anyway. But if you're looking for face value tickets at this moment in time, it's very difficult to find that, if I'm honest. Shevchenko just looking to shoot now. She knows she's under a bit of pressure. What's the time? Because they're in round 4. Listen, the 5:30 is not even happening at this moment in time. It's going to be 5:45 at this rate. Can't you sneak into? Sneak into where? 2-1 Shevchenko. I get that. I'll probably say 2-1 to Grasso, but I understand either way, really. It's a tight fight at the moment. It's a tight fight. Ali Wadin says, I'm so proud of you, Turkish. I'm so proud of how Turkish has come far. I'll be real. I'll leave it for the UFC fans, but congratulations, bro. Good night. Love Ali Wadin, man. Hope you're good, my guy. I remember when you passed your exams. Was that a few years ago? Must have been a couple years ago now. I remember that day still. I remember. Hope you've kicked on from there and found the path that you wanna follow. It is very close. It is very close, my guy. 100%. Scott says Anderson Silva the best of all time. That's, for me, that's probably the most common answer I get amongst my friendship circle and the people that I've spoken about with, in regards to UFC. Anderson Silva tends to be the one that gets mentioned the most, but then St. Pierre and John Jones come up in the conversation a lot. With Khabib, he comes up in conversations, but that's heavily orientated around the McGregor fight as well, because the McGregor fight really, pushed Khabib's brand and all of that to a new level. But a lot of his fights leading up to the Conor fight, which was the majority of his career, there ain't really names on there. Don't get me wrong. After McGregor, Gaethje, Poirier, who else? Wasn't there one more fight after McGregor? After McGregor, it was meant to be Tony Ferguson. He had to pull out, so Gaethje went in. And then it was Poirier, and then that was his last fight. So obviously those three names are massive names, you know, greats in their own right. Well, just not so much Justin Gaethje. Justin Gaethje is just a top fighter in my opinion. If Bones wins, will he do a rematch? It doesn't sound like it. If he wins, sorry people, I'm moving like Grizz, but it's fight night. I've got a few almonds here. I've got some crisps, but if I start eating crisps, it's going to sound mad. Let me know if the crunching is too much, because I know Grizz gets a lot of complaints for eating on the big six. But yeah, the way Jones is talking, if he wins the fight tonight, I think he's looking for Miocic. And the other day there was a heavyweight link up that I watched where they were discussing this fight coming up, and Cormier was on it, Miocic was on it, and Miocic was saying, listen, he thought it was going to be him fighting John Jones. It wasn't to be, so he wants the winner. Oof, Grasso's got her, but I don't think she's under her neck. Nah. Ooh. She's not completely under there. Yeah, she's getting there. Might be peak for Shevchenko here, you know, 36 seconds left. Shevchenko wants to tap still, man. It's over. Shevchenko's done. It's crazy. Crazy. All right, this one's done now. 20 past 5. John Jones and that will probably walk out in about 10 minutes. If that, yeah, 10 minutes, half 5. Fight should kick off at 5:45. Mad. That was some good. That was some good movement. I can't even lie, because it came out of nowhere. Nate Diaz is like, I wouldn't even put him in the greats, because I put Cormier in the great category. Cormier is a champ. He pretty much dominated the division. So for me, I love Nate Diaz as a fighter. He's been part of some classic fights. Not only McGregor 1 and 2, but he's been part of some classic fights in general. I'd put him down as like the tier under greats. I'd put him in the tier under greats in terms of one of the most entertaining fighters the UFC's ever had. Yeah, the way Grasso got wrapped around, it was mad quick, out of nowhere. Hey man, she says I missed the super chat. Oh, there it is. Sorry, I missed it. Turkish, you watch boxing too? I watch boxing too, but over the years, my love for boxing's kind of fallen off a bit. I can't even lie. And my love for UFC has just grown further and further. Big boxing fights. Listen, if Fury fights Usyk, you know, I'll do a watch along. Listen, I was at Fury White. What was the fight I was at before Fury White? To be honest, before Fury White, it was a few years. It was Joshua versus White. And then before Joshua White, it was Chisora Hay. That's the last 3 fights I went to. But realistically, overall, I mean, Wilder Fury would have been a sick fight to go to, in my opinion, especially the first and second, because by the time the third one came about, everyone knew that, you know, what was going on. Wilder was written off by them, but the first 2 is where the whole, you know, the first one, the way it ended, and the second one, after Fury just dominated. Yeah. I still like boxing, don't get it twisted, but overall, UFC is the one for me in terms of combat sport. Man, like Turkish, massive win yesterday. Come on, you Gunners. Come on. Reese Nelson. He come on and done his thing. Might as well talk a little bit about football since we're about 10 minutes away from the main fight. But listen, with Reese, I mean, if you go back to old videos of mine, I thought he was going to be the next up. I've got a lot of love for Reese. I mean, he's got a lot of love for the club. I love the club. If you've got a lot of love for the club and you've got anything about you, then I'm gonna back you in it. And with Reese, he just never kicked on, in my opinion. Even this season, I mean, it was a surprise that he stayed at the club. And then, he features when Saka gets injured against Forest, couple goals, and then he kind of, goes into the background a little bit again. Got an injury, returns, and then comes off the bench to pretty much change the game. The assist, the goal, and in general, his confidence, his desire to be on the ball and get into spaces. I think Reese has, without much playing time, Reese has done a lot this season. If we go on to achieve, a league title and that, then Reese has been a part of it, if not just for this game and the way we had to turn it around, because you can't be winning league titles and losing at home to Bournemouth or even drawing. If we had dropped points to Bournemouth, then we would have dropped points to Southampton this season, Everton this season, and Bournemouth. And that's three of the worst clubs this season. And it wouldn't have boded well for a title come the end. It would have left us with, a 2-point difference, a 3-point if it was a draw. And with 3 massive away games coming up in the last 12 fixtures, Newcastle, Liverpool, Manchester City, we needed the win. We needed the win yesterday. We need the win against Fulham next Sunday, and we need the win against Crystal Palace the week after. Let's go into that international break 8 points clear of City, and kick on from there. Let's fucking go, says Dave. Yeah, wow. Clement, let's see what you're saying. Top 5 UFC fighters of all time includes Jones, Anderson Silva, GSP, I assume you mean Conor McGregor and Khabib. That's a good 5. I'll probably agree with that 5. I'd probably agree with that 5. I'd agree with that 5, but I'd probably put GSP, Silva, and Jones the top 3. But then with Jones's dubious testing and whatnot, Silva or GSP. But that's a very solid 5, if I'm honest with you. It probably is that. UFC confirms Stipe fights the winner. There you go. That's next up. That's next up. I'm moving hella slow through the chat. Maybe I'm just talking too much. Shevchenko's definitely lost a step, says Clement. Yeah, Nate Diaz is a GOAT brawler. That's what it is. He's a brawler. Like, you're gonna get a banger of a fight with Nate Diaz in it. Dylan White got slept. The first Fury Wilder fight was mad. 100%. 100%. Tank Garcia, yeah, that's true. That is a big one. But like I said, I prefer the heavyweight division. I don't know. That's just always been me. That's not to say there's not greats in the other divisions, because Floyd's a great. Canelo's one of the greats. Well, not to that level, I'll be honest. I've like Golovkin. I like Pacquiao. Who else? See, I struggle to think. If it's not heavyweight, I struggle to think. So as soon as the heavyweight division kind of fell off, that's not to say the other divisions fell off with it, because if I'm not mistaken, they didn't fall off like the heavyweight division fell off. But because I'm a big fan of the heavyweight division, once that fell off, I was just like, you know what? Boxing ain't the same. There's Nate and Nick Diaz. I don't know what Nate's doing now, though. There's Stipe there as well. There was all rumors about Nate versus Jake Paul, but now Jake Paul's lost to Fury. I think he's going to trigger that rematch clause. Conor's the biggest star, but nowhere near the best ever. I get that, Sally. I get that. It was one of the biggest robberies. I can't even lie to you. It was. Lomachenko, yeah, he's a top boxer as well. Clement said I meant GSP, not PSG. I've got Paris Saint-Germain on my mind. Heavyweight is the most boring though. Too much hugging and they get tired hella fast too. This is what I'm saying about heavyweight boxing though, because I'm not gonna say you're wrong, but over the years that's what it's turned out like. But then look at Wilder Fury 1 and 2. Mad fights, very different styles of boxing, but it was two of the most entertaining fights you'll ever see in boxing. If you look at old school boxers like Mike Tyson, Lennox Lewis, Muhammad Ali, these men were entertaining heavyweight boxers, very entertaining. John Jones just getting ready there behind the scenes. I can't wait for this one. I can't even lie to you. Once this starts, yeah, it's all about the fight. I'm gonna have to leave the chat a little bit. They get tired hella fast. Well, I mean, Tyson Fury don't get tired fast. Like I said, AJ, I'm trying to. I aim to go to the event. That's my birthday, March the 18th. I really do want to go to it, but the P's situation right now it's really a headache for me to decide, should I do it? Should I really go in and spend that kind of money? When really, for me, I look at the card and I say to myself, the main and the co-main are bangers. I mean, Edwards Usman I talked about, Fiziev, Gaethje, that should be a banger as well. Aside from them two fights, the card doesn't really fill me with much. Ooh, I want to see this one. And with the money that's needs to be spent in order to get good tickets in good seats, it's really a balance. Obviously, it being my birthday adds to it. My first UFC event adds to it. So that all adds to the, yes, I'm going to go. But the cost of it is just can I justify that? Can I justify that? Because it's a bump. Without a shadow of a doubt, it's a bump. And Rex says it's 11 a.m. in India, and I'm glad I could see you live in Hindi. Come on. There's no chance Big Six comes out at this time, I'll tell you that much. But yeah, when it comes to UFC, then it's mad timing for us over here in the UK. But obviously, football fans from all across the world understand that, because sometimes men are messaging me saying they're just waking up in the middle of the night to watch Arsenal. So it's a vacant belt. Look at the heavyweight rankings: Cyril Gane, Stipe Miocic, Pavlovich, Curtis Blade, Taito Vassar. It's not a great division, is it? John Jones wins it. The Stipe fight will be very interesting. Well, you know what? Actually, if Jones beats Cyril, I think Jones beats Stipe, because I don't think Stipe's best days are behind him as well. Because in all honesty, I think Cyril beats Stipe. I think Cyril beats Stipe. That might sound wild, and don't get it twisted. Stipe's one of the greats too, and he's done dirt in the UFC. I just think his best days are behind him, and Cyril's best days are yet to come. But at the end of the day, the experience goes a long way too. But yeah, I'm sure we'll see that fact, because like I said, Dana makes the big fights all the time. Mikhail says Usman will try wrestle all 5 rounds, and that's the flip side as well. Don't get twisted. I expect Usman to try wrestle for 5 rounds. Imagine I go pay a bag or £800 or £700 for a ticket, and this guy just wrestles for 5 rounds and just holds him down, because it's not like Usman's wrestling is entertaining. And by that I mean it's like Francis versus Cyril. I mean, the wrestling was effective and won him the fight, but it was not entertaining. Whereas Khabib's wrestling technically is different ilk. His wrestling was entertaining, how he used to maneuver his body into certain positions, his ground and pound, the variety of submissions he could slowly but surely work his way into. whereas Usman's takedowns are more ground time. Use the weight and sit. If I spend all that money and then that happens in the main fight, because you can't be that Edwards Usman first. I keep on saying first fight. Their second fight where Edwards got the head kick in the 5th. It was a boring fight up until that head kick, in my opinion. I mean, Usman done well to nullify Edwards' technical ability. He was going into that 4th round 3-1 up. Yes, Edwards had taken Usman down, and that was a shock. And first and all of that, cool, I get that, but it wasn't an entertaining fight. And then bang, you get the head kicks, and I guess that's a legendary moment. So if you're paying a certain amount of money and you get to witness a legendary moment, then I think that goes a long way in making it worth it. But how another legendary moment in that fight, it rarely happens, if I'm honest with you, back to back. So MC says, yeah, the card ain't it. That's the problem with it. Like, they should have, as much as Paddy Pimblett, in my opinion, is going to get exposed real soon. I think that Paddy should have been on it, on the main card. Who else? Obviously, Aspinall. I don't know how ready. Well, I don't think he is, because that last injury he had was a mad one. I think Khamzat. I mean, there was rumors Khamzat was good. Listen, if Khamzat was on that card, I would have a ticket already, because you'd have Edwards Usman, you'd have Fiziev Gaethje, you might have Khamzat someone else. I would have definitely got a ticket without a shadow of a doubt. But yeah, then on the other side of things, it's one of the best cards the UK has had in terms of UFC cards. So I'd say the only one that probably beats it is Bisping Silva. Bisping Silva was in the UK, innit? I think it was in the UK. Maybe I'm wrong. Let me know in the comments if I'm wrong. But I think that one was in the UK. And I guess when I say card, I don't actually remember the whole card. But in terms of main event, Bisping Silva, I say Bisping Silva. To see him in the UK, he's a legend. Albeit he not ruined his reputation, but that whole Jake Paul stuff, man. I passed uni and law degree and graduated in November. Come on. Was it November though? I don't think it was November the last time. Big up you as well. No, congratulations on that first and foremost. But do you remember a couple of years ago when? Was it a couple of years ago? Maybe I'm thinking about something else, but I'm sure a couple of years ago you passed something, or you done your exams, or whatever else. Maybe I'm wrong. Did you see Tobes' reaction, Turkish? Reaction to what? Tobes is a funny guy. When it went, obviously I went back through the WhatsApps and all of that after the Arsenal-Bournemouth game. When it went to 2-0, who do you think's first in the group? It's 2-0. Bare different letters and laughing emojis. Football is a humbler in capitals. About 4 hours later, when I was going through it, I just replied to football is a humbler with a laughing emoji. The guy told me to relax. Ah, mate. Football is a humbler, Tobes. It is a humbler, my guy. Did you have a normal job before YouTube? Yeah, I've only been in YouTube full-time just under 2 years. It'll be 2 years come April. Before that, I was a project manager for Royal Mail. I was at Royal Mail for 5.5 years. I was a project manager for 3.5 years, sorry. I was an operations manager at Royal Mail for 2 years. Before Royal Mail, I was at TFL, customer service. I was there for about 2 years. Before TFL, I was at Ladbrokes. I was there for about 1.5 years. Before Ladbrokes, I was at Next Stockroom. I was there for about a couple of years. And before that, I was at uni. So in terms of my jobs and career, that's how it's kind of progressed. I went uni and graduated in business management. In the end, that degree wasn't the best of degrees, but it got me the Royal Mail graduate scheme. It got me the project management role in the end and experience. So I'm grateful for the degree. It's just that, yeah, I think if there's anyone watching that's headed towards the uni route, I think find something that, you know, is a specialist subject rather than broad. Business management was so broad, it was difficult to use that degree and then find that if I was going for a marketing job, which is one of the modules that you had to study for 3 years in business management, they'd tend to favor the business with marketing graduates. If you was going for a finance role, which is a module that you did in business management, they'll tend to favor the business with finance module graduates. So business management was just an overall, yeah, it sounded good on paper. And when I was going for uni, I didn't really know what the hell I was doing. I was just like, business management, let's just go do that, see what it's about, enjoy, and come out the back end and move on to life. And then obviously there was a recession here. Not much has changed, has it? So jobs were very hard to come by. Hence why, you know, after uni it was Next, Stockroom, it was Ladbrokes, it was TFL, and then bang into Royal Mail graduate scheme. And that's when the degree made sense, because prior to that, I was just like, did I just waste did I just waste 4 years at uni to be working at TFL and Ladbrokes and Next? Like, I could have just left school or left sixth form and you know, got into these roles and built myself up from there, and I'd probably be further along the line. Then bang, the degree got me the graduate scheme, and I was like, finally, I look back at the degree and say it was worth it. Don't get me wrong, uni was a enjoyable time, but it was tough coming out of uni. 100%. It was tough coming out of uni. Can we get a timer? There's no timer. There's no timer. Right now, John Jones is walking out. I'll let you know as soon as the first bell rings. Let me mute this. Sorry, I'm going to mute you lot for a second. I just want to hear what he's coming out to. I can't even tell what he's coming out to be honest. Sav says, if you're interested in any science type degree, do dentistry or medicine. Shaib says, it is the way. Turkish. What about a marketing management course? Marketing is a specialist subject. You know, you get some qualifications in marketing, you go for marketing jobs. If you get a qualification in business management, you can't apply for business management jobs. Like, what is business management? It's different modules that equate to a business management degree, whereas marketing is actually a department, a specialist role. So that's what I mean by going for a more specialist subject. I say subject, what am I talking about? Specialist degree. It's mad, you know. Sorry, I'm just looking. Seeing John Jones back is actually mad. To be honest, for some reason, maybe I was overreacting when I say he doesn't look in tip-top shape, because he doesn't look bad either. Look at him, he's going mad. Jones is a character, man. I can't even lie to you. But this guy better not win this and then fail a drugs test or something, because I'll be done then. He'll be taking out that conversation. I doubt it though. He's had 3 years to bulk up and he doesn't need to lose the weight. And he has got an ego though. He has got an ego. He has showed a humble side, especially leading up to this fight. He's built well though. Even when he was doing the weigh-in and face off with Cyril, he didn't look small in comparison. So yeah, we're about to get into it. I assume no one was moaning about me eating almonds, so we move. I'm gonna leave the crisps because that's gonna be too crunchy when people start chatting shit. Trust me, no production here. Let's go live. There's a light there. I actually had my iPad here to answer some of the questions and whatnot, but in the end, let's answer it off the laptop. So I was gonna put the laptop a bit further back and just, I don't know what I was thinking, to be honest. What's going on here? No, I'm muting it. I have to mute it because there's something going on with his foot. Why is it taped up like that? For a second there, I thought they're gonna. I don't know, because I can hit. It's on. It's not on mute. It's on low. I was hearing something about they got some problems here, and I was thinking, wow, they're gonna cancel this fight. Imagine they cancelled it, for fuck's sake. I don't know, you know, Usman. He had his foot wrapped and a couple toes wrapped, including his big toe. And as he was getting into the ring, the referee was like, nope, you got to cut them off. But I'm not too sure why they made him cut it off, if I'm honest. It's not like you get an advantage from that. And I think Joe Rogan said it, you can wear foot wraps. Well, it is what it is. He didn't seem too fazed by cutting it off. It'd be interesting to see how bad that injury is, though. And he's kind of exposed it to Cyril. Will Cyril use that to his advantage? That'll be interesting to see. A lot of foot stomping. Okay, let me see what you're saying here. Turkish, I have an agency running about 8 grand a month. I'm 17, but started this at 15. Do you think it's worth me sacrificing the rest of my 20s to build up this agency, or should I relax and claim that? Bro, 8 grand a month within 2 years, and you're only 17? I'd go all in. As long as you enjoy it, I'd go all in. Even if you don't enjoy it, at the end of the day, you need to make money. And if it's something that, if you think you can do something else that you'd enjoy more, it doesn't mean drop this out. Make your money how you're making it, and then spend it on what you would enjoy doing. And then eventually you can potentially let this go to someone to manage it, still make your money off the back end and do what you love to do. But in 2 years, to have a business making 8 grand a month, you're smiling. You're smiling. Forget talking about your 20s. If you've done that from 15 to 17, imagine what you're going to do from 17 to 20. Obviously, don't rest on your laurels, because shit can change. I don't really know the ins and outs of your business and how external factors can impact it. But you're doing very well. Judging by those numbers, you're doing very well. Jose says, big up Turkish. It's 9:45 p.m. in Calais. It must be 4 a.m. in London. I wish it was 4 a.m. It's 5:45. It's going to get light outside in a minute. This fight needs to, I can't lie, I don't want this fight to go all the way, man. I like it to end within 3. I want to see a bit of it, but I need to sleep. Like I said, I'm taking my son swimming in the morning. I'm going to be finished. If this fight goes all the way, it's definitely, 6:15, 6:20 finish. Yeah, I ain't sleeping till about 6:45, 7. My son's probably up at 6:45, 7 anyway, so it's just peak. We're about to go, people. We're about to go. Prediction time. Let's get the predictions in the chat. Let's get the predictions in the chat. How do I make a prediction for this one, man? It's so difficult to predict this, man. It's so difficult to predict this. We got a kick to the nuts within 10 seconds. 9 seconds, literally, when Bournemouth scored against us today. Oh, that was fucking a clip. Is Cyril all right? That was a mad one. All right, Jones is straight back in. Didn't even take 30 seconds. It's hard to predict this, man. Messi says Jones round 3 KO. Ooh. Cyril, second round KO, says Ben. Goodness says Jones looks out of shape. Another round 2 KO by Cyril there. Jones by murder. Cyril in 1. Jones round 1. Jones in 3. Jones 2. Cyril by decision. Jones round 2. Jones round 3. Cyril in 2 via KO. Imagine seeing John Jones knock that. Or TKO'd. He's got him down. 1 takedown attempted, 1 takedown successful. But Cyril can get up from this. Should get a heat more. I say he should. It's easy saying that just watching it, but John Jones is a master at this. Got a super chat coming. Fuad, give me a sec. Let me just back down again. Let me just see what this fight's saying, then I'll get your super chat in. He ain't got the guillotine in. It's not in. Cyril's struggling. Tapped. Round 1 submission. No way. No way. I can't lie. No one said submission in the chat. I wouldn't have said submission. John Jones. Round 1 submission. It didn't even look like he was under the neck. Nah, John Jones. Nah, that was mad. That was mad. No one predicted that. No one predicted that. Cyril's vexed. And to be honest, I get why he's vexed, because I don't know how you can lose first round submission to Jones 3 years out of the ring, coming off the worst performance, in my opinion, of his career against Reyes. Look at him shoulder shaking. What was that? 2 minutes? Mad, showing his family right now. DC come out of retirement for the trilogy. Yeah, that's all done. Let me see some highlights here. Fuad, don't worry, I've got a super chat saved, my guy, so we're gonna get into it. He just dragged him to the ground, you know. And when you think he stepped up to his, he is under the chin. Yeah, he was under the chin the second time. Yeah, he's under the chin. Peak. Let me get that on my Insta story. Oh man, I got him when he's covering his face. Imagine that. I'll get it when his hands raised. All right, listen, that was actually. I don't mind fights ending like that because it's worth staying up for. I remember when I stayed up for McGregor Aldo, I was just like, bang, 9 seconds. Fuck it. You stayed up all that time and it was a legendary moment. Dana White, he's smiling. He knows Stipe, John Jones next, another banging pay-per-view. He's going to make the peas. He's happy. Cyril Gane actually, I don't know what he's on. I can't even lie to you. Mad. Dave, that's in the back of my mind as well, That's why I'm hesitant, because after, obviously, I need to wait 2 days and make sure and everything comes back all clear. Gane did stink. I can't even lie. That was a GOAT comeback. If you're describing a comeback, that is that. If you're describing a comeback, like look, Dave, earlier when you talked about GSP coming back, I mean, this comeback was mad. Heavyweight champ of the world. Heavyweight champion of the world. John Jones. I had to listen to Joe Rogan quickly, people. So let me mute this. Apologies. It might be the GOAT. Sorry, I had to unmute it quickly, but when you think about what he just done, 3 years out, what was Cyril just terrible, or was that one of the greatest moments from one of the greatest fighters? Like, no, don't get me wrong, Dave. I 100% understand what you're saying. Obviously, Cyril's ground game is terrible. I just thought he would have learned a bit off the Francis fight, and regardless, the way he done it was just so dominant. It was within what he took him down, and within 40 seconds, there was a tap out. That's why I'm wondering, was Cyril that bad, or is John Jones that good? And I lean more towards John Jones being that good. But then again, you can couple them together and come out with this outcome. Gotta take a couple days to digest this. I can't even lie. Hey, Stipe, John Jones lined up next. Dave, Dave, let me just ask you a question. If John Jones goes and finishes Stipe within a couple, or even winning a decision against Stipe, how much of an impact does that have on your opinion in the GOAT rankings for John Jones? Because I get you with Cyril, top prospect, I guess he is, but he hasn't got over the line in the two mega fights that he's had. In fact, it's got worse for him in the second one, because that was quite an embarrassing finish, you know, for what this fight was meant to be and for what Cyril was meant to bring. That was a very easy fight for. Look at the fights coming up. Pereira Adesanya next month, Edwards Usman this month. Hey, it's gonna be a mad month for UFC. I'll definitely be doing watch along for Pereira Adesanya. That's actually I actually did a watch along for Pereira Adesanya in January. I'll definitely be doing one for that. Edwards Usman, I should be going to it. If I don't go to it, it's my birthday, so I'll be watching it somewhere else with friends. But yeah. Dave says Stipe is too small and GANE or Blades are actual challenges for different reasons. I get that. That's fair as well, because I actually think Jones will handle Stipe. Francis was the one. Francis, if Jones could have just gone in and beat Francis, that would have been the one. I can't lie. But technically, Cyril's better than Francis. Stipe is better than Francis, but Francis has that aura, the size, and the punching power that I get you. I get you. Noah says, I think he becomes the undebatable GOAT if he beats Stipe. Jones is better than Stipe. Am I going to UFC in London in 2 weeks? Hope so. Stipe, get in touch. It's so expensive. I can't lie. That's the only thing that's putting me off. I was in there ready to buy tickets when they came out on the 27th, but John Jones, you know, imagine that. I was out here saying, yeah, RAKHMONOV will deal with NEAL quickly. SHEVCHENKO will deal with GRASSO quickly. And then we'll see a fight that could potentially go the distance, will probably go the distance. And within 2 minutes, done. It took them longer to talk to him about his wrapping around his toes and foot than it did his enjoying. I don't think even Jones expected this sort of a. Do you call it a fight when it's that short? A few bangs, drags him down, maneuvers into a position. Let me hear what Stipe's got to say quickly. I'm gonna mute it again. I don't think I need to mute it anyway, man. It is what it is. They're talking to Stipe now as well. So Stipe's, I don't know if Stipe should have just retired or not. You know, I can't lie to you. He just feels. How old is Stipe? How old is Stipe? Someone let me know in the chat, because I can't bother to go on Google right now. Someone let me know in the chat. How old is Stipe? Because he's looking like a retired fighter. I can't even lie to you. Dana White needs to get Francis quick. Yeah, I wish that Francis and Dana could have sorted something out. I can't even lie to you. He's 40, says Paulie. Drew says he's probably 40. Oba says at least 40. Someone says he's about 38, 39. Stipe's been around. Listen, he's a great, but the way I'm looking at him now, he just feels like a retired. I'm just looking at him, and he comes across like a retired fighter. The guy just got a cardigan on, his glasses, clean shaven. He just doesn't. John Jones, boy, John Jones. But there we have it. John Jones, round 1 submission. I think that's the prediction that nobody made. And if someone did, then credit to them. But none of us did in the chat. Me, my friends, no one predicted this sort of a quick end to this fight. Thing is, I want to watch his post fight. You know when you stay up. I don't know if there's a lot of people that stay up late, but let me hear what Cormier is saying. Cormier don't like Jones. He just doesn't like him, but he has to do his role. Submission round 1, 2 minutes and 4 seconds. The number 1 heavyweight. Well, I say number 1. The number 1 ranked heavyweight. To be honest, Jones doesn't need much time to get back in the ring, if I'm honest with you. Where are we in? Beginning of March. We could see Jones Stipe in June. June, July, if I'm honest. Jones did imply he might fight 2-3 times this year. After the ease of this fight, I'd say it should be 3, because I think he'll go June, July, beat Stipe. But after he beats Stipe, if he beats Stipe, what next? Because there's no one else in the heavyweight division that's touching Jones. Not after the way that. Look, who else was in that list? Pavlovich. To be fair, I haven't seen enough of Pavlovich, but I just don't. Maybe I don't know. Has anyone out there seen Pavlovich enough of him to say whether he might be a problem? Tuivasa is still in the top 5. He would not be an issue for John Jones at all. I forgot who else was in the top 5, but if John Jones goes and beats Stipe, then he might as well retire, if I'm honest, because there's nothing left. Aspinall's going to have to come back from that injury first. Because listen, Jones, at points throughout his career, people have called him a dirty fighter because there's a thin line between smart fighter and dirty fighter, in a sense where when there's an opportunity, when there's a weakness, whether that weakness is a technical ability like ground game, or whether that weakness is a particular injury, Jones has taken advantage of various different weaknesses over his career in regards to his opponent. So Aspinall, he needs to come back from this. It was a big knee injury, wasn't it? Knee injury. So those ain't easy to come back from, especially if you got another heavyweight, kicking down on the knees, shins. And I could see that coming into play too. But I don't think Aspinall has the ability. Blades, I guess. Dave said Blades. I guess I forgot about him. I'd just love it to be Stipe, then Francis comes back into the fold, because as much as Francis and Dana didn't come to an agreement, if there's one thing all of us UFC fans agree on, and Francis would agree on, and Dana would agree on, Dana loves money. So if John Jones can beat Stipe, then I'm sure Dana would be willing to renegotiate with Francis. And at the same time, the way Francis's boxing options look to be going, I think he might be open to going back to the drawing board, because yeah, there was all of a sudden hype about Fury and Ngannou, but really and truly, Fury should be fighting Usyk, and if that fight gets made, then what happens with Francis? You know, what other heavyweight out there? What, Joshua? All right, he'll make a hell of a lot of money, I guess, and he'll still want to do it. But Francis was talking the other day and talked about, you know, having a boxing fight and then coming back to the, not UFC, but coming back to MMA. And he mentioned that various promotions are interested and have already contacted him. If it ain't UFC, then, you know, it's not the best of the best, in my opinion. Cyril gone. Cyril is gone. I can't even lie to you. Dave says Jones handles pretty much every other heavyweight with his long arms and his big belly. He does. He does. Don Robinho, Ngannou has no ground game, but he would still give a fight. He doesn't, but he has the size and the weight. That's how he beats Cyril. And I don't know if Jones has his way with Francis in terms of the ground game. Fucking hell. They're showing the Grasso Valentina Shevchenko submission again, and they paused it at the point where she just tapped that and released the arms from around the neck. Shevchenko's face is red as hell, but the moment the arm comes off at the chin, that bit's all white. If you're watching it, you can see what I'm seeing right now. Her face could have got crushed. Grasso was going for it all. Oof, yeah, peak. Jay said Jones Volkanovski. Dave said Blades is a shit matchup for Jones stylistically. Usman says he could fight Ngannou on their own PPV. They wouldn't even need UFC. Well, John Jones is probably under contract still for, I don't know, however many more fights. And at the same time, I think Jones has a lot of respect for Dana White. It's similar to how McGregor has a lot of respect for Dana White. Because to be honest with you, McGregor could have started his own thing a little while ago in terms of UFC is a monster. But McGregor is also a monster. And, you know, Jones, McGregor, who else? Oh, pretty much Jones and McGregor, they could come out of the UFC and still have top fights, you know, without that umbrella brand above them, because they are a big draw. Obviously, McGregor more than Jones, but yeah, it's not that easy to just come away from the UFC, because the UFC have that. Listen, the UFC get a lot of stick, and then it gets a lot of stick, and I understand it and I agree with a lot of it, but they've also helped a lot and they've also built a lot. Not only of their own business, but fighters too. So Dave says, bedtime, lads. It's time to wrap it up. And I think it is. But before we do, I've got a few super chats saved. So I'm going to go back into it. Adesanya too. Oh, yeah. They used to go back and forth. But Adesanya right now, he's got his own problems to deal with. That guy, you know, Pereira, fourth time they're fighting. If he loses that one, then is anyone going to want to see Adesanya Jones? I don't think so. I don't think so. And Jones going from what he is now at this age down in weight, unless Adesanya wins against Pereira, then goes up heavy. I don't see that fight happening. Pereira, if Pereira beats Adesanya again, I can't see him putting on that much weight. And to be honest, Pereira's got a big frame, and putting on weight is not the hard part. But the thing about Jones is he took his time to put the weight on, and probably did it in a way that, you know, didn't impact him in the ways that I actually thought it might. Only one is Ngannou. Yeah, but that's not happening. I can't lie. That's not happening. That's not happening. All right, let me go to the super chats that I have saved. Obviously, said it's too easy for John. Now he's gonna fuck it up. That's what happens with Jones, though. He wins a massive fight and then something comes out, or he does something away from it all, and it's just like, what are you doing, my guy? Usman says you should do these more often. You're better than Rogan. Listen, Rogan, he's an OG in this thing, but I am going to do these more often. I can't lie. I am going to do these more often. And Fuad, you got any tips with YouTube? I started a podcast called Comment Club. It's been a year and we've been hitting 150 views. I just think about how I started Big Six. At the end of the day, it's hard because when I started Big Six, obviously I had a following. Matisse had a following on Twitter. Grizz had a following on Twitter. Grizz was also on other Liverpool channels. Saeed had a following on YouTube and Twitter and Insta. He was already, you know, pretty established in his own right. It was only really Tobes, and I think Tobes had his own channel, or Tobes was doing a podcast too with others, and then, you know, Big Steve came in blind in a sense where he didn't have, you know, his own socials. So it's very different, and it's hard for me to give advice when some of the things I've built comes from a place where it's putting together people that have already been around and you know, gained followers. Advice on My advice is, if you've started doing something, a year is still a very short space of time. And it's worth continuing at it. It's worth, I don't know the show you do, so I don't know how, you know, it's worth looking at thumbnails, it's worth looking at graphics, it's worth looking at intro, it's worth looking at guests, it's worth looking at engagement, it's worth looking at how you use your tags and you know, the hashtag stuff. Even though with that, I don't really believe much of that because I don't tag my videos on YouTube, to be honest. A lot of people say you should. I don't. It is what it is. It works for me. Maybe it would work better if I did. Who knows? But I just find my lane and my way and stay with it. So it's just about, you know, continuing to build on the idea. It's not just have one idea, because look, for example, you know, I started Big Six November 2020. I started it before then, but I started this version of Big Six November 2020. And then wait, yeah, he done touchdown fracas. Yeah, that he did the top. That was it. November 2020. And you know, slowly but surely, it was hundreds of views throughout the season. Wasn't really touching 1,000. I think it started at some point, but it wasn't consistent. End of the season, it really started picking up pace. In the summer, I thought to myself, all right, so what do we do in the summer? All right, let's do transfer window content. What do I do different? Because that's what I do as well. Every season, I want something different to be added. So that's where Scarfuggery came in. I saw Scarfuggery and what he did on his channel, and I thought to myself, how can we make this work? I contacted Scar, had a talk with him. I said, what do you think we can do? And then, you know, we came to this idea that, you know, from time to time, we can use the characters on the show and the things that are said to, you know, build clips as part of an intro potentially. Cool, let's do that. Worked out a deal together. Obviously, we had the prediction table in from the year before. The Scarfuggery aspect was new. And then we built on it. This last year, moving into this season, nothing was added to the show. Obviously, Big Steve left and Hugh came in, but in terms of building on the show, nothing was built on the show, but more content started coming out on the official Big Six channel. Now in the summer, like I've already got plans, and also in the summer, the foot golf series came out, and we started linking up and doing more stuff together. That's not just show based. Foot golf, DMYG, come on. This summer, you know, crossbar challenge, penalty shootout. These are things I've got planned. Is that new? No, it's similar to what we done last year, but it's not about dropping out what you done last year and doing something new. It's about keeping up what you done last year and adding something new. So we're gonna go to New York and we're gonna do our thing over there and vlog it, and you know, maybe start touring different cities from time to time in a sense and seeing how that goes. Because in terms of the Big Six show with the prediction table, the twice a week preview, review, and the Scarfuggery aspect, there's nothing really more I can think to add off the top. And that's what I suggest to you. Just keep on building on it, keep on adding on to it. Obviously, if it's a passion, if it's not a passion, then you can drop it out and try something different. It just depends how much you love what you're trying to do or trying to build and how much you believe in it. But just don't rest on your laurels and think, all right, this is what I'm doing. Shit, it's been a year. It hasn't kicked off. let me drop it out. No, if you believe in what you're doing, then just continue doing it and see where it goes. I don't think a year's enough time to give up on something, if I'm honest. Skullfuggery has material to use after Tobes' fan cam yesterday, Turkish. She was mad. Shout out Tobes. What fan cam? His match reaction. I'll be climbing England's third highest mountain. Good luck, my guy. Amjid, come on. Good luck. Good luck. Blue Well says, I ain't John's biggest fan, but man, he knows how to fight. He'd beat most men on planet Earth. Greatest of all time, says Dorian. Jones is next level. Turkish, if United win today, do you consider them in the title race? I considered them in the title race already, but now Arsenal have won all their games whilst United have had the break from the Premier League. And what is it now? Is it 14 points? Let me just double check quickly before we wrap it up. 4/6. Yeah, it's 14 points now. I can't even lie to you. It's hard to say they're in the title race right now, but they continue to form. They continue winning games, especially this Anfield game. And they, 14 points with 2 games in hand? Yeah, 14 with 2 games in hand. So they win both of them. It's 8? I'd say they're there or thereabouts, but right now I'd say no. But it changes. It changes quite frequently. I can't even lie to you. Yeah, Adesanya needs to worry about Pereira for sure. All right, people, listen. There's still 300 people here. There's 330 likes. Listen, there's 300 people here. 300 likes. You know, it just makes sense. It makes sense, people. All right, I'm gonna wrap it up here. We've just passed 2 hours on the stream as well. The Jones-Cyril fight, we all thought it'd be longer, but I can't lie. It was a great end to what was a decent card. I think the Shevchenko-Grasso one was the second best fight. But John Jones has solidified his claim as one of the GOATs, for sure. And solidified his fans' claims that he is the GOAT. Called out Stipe. UFC apparently had already confirmed that. That's next up. And that'll be an interesting one. I'll be back with a UFC watch-along in a few weeks. Adesanya Pereira, I think it's the first week of April. So I'll be back for that one. Usman Edwards, I'm looking to go to that. If I'm not going to that, it's my birthday, so I'll be out, like I said. Yeah, and I'm going to go to bed now because in about, what's the time? In about 3.5 hours, I'm taking my son swimming. In about 45 minutes, my son will be awake. So I ain't got much time to rest, people. Listen, love for the love. Hit the like button if you haven't already. We've already surpassed 300 likes. It's mad. And leave your comments in the comment section after the show gets processed as well, people. Love for the love. Make sure you're there for Big 6 Monday. It's going to be another banger. Arsenal nearly put me in it today, but big up Reece Nelson. I can't lie to you. Big up Reece Nelson because man were out for me. Man were definitely out for me. Tottenham lost and Liverpool or Man United will probably lose tomorrow unless it's a draw. But let's just hope it's a Man United loss. Sorry, United fans. We move, people. We move. I'm out, people. Hit the like button, comment after. Peace.